Hey guys, welcome back to Don't Inhale. And we have something a little bit different today for you guys, and hopefully you like it. Today we have my American Cuban Humidor tour.
Ooh, all right.
So you can take a look at this as a 2012 throwback Camacho box, but there ain't no Camachos in here. That's for sure. So let's take a look. And before anyone says anything, I keep this humidor inside of a bigger tubador. So it doesn't really matter if this humidor is really sealed or not. I just want to keep everything kind of organized. It's really what it's for. So inside this humidor, there's really just a bunch of random different selections, different sizes of practically every single Cuban brand that I could at least get my hands on. So we have everything from Cohiba, Montecristo, Juan Lopez, even cheaper machine-made lines like Quintero. There's some San Cristobal, La Habanas in here. Even a couple regionals, which I don't even know how that got in there because it's not supposed to be in this box. And yeah, you guys have any questions or have anything to say from what you see?
I'm interested in like what's in there. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen before. And
Well, let's start on this side. So on this side, I practically have all my smaller cigars. So all of these are Corona or petit Coronas. And all the petit or smaller Coronas in here, I have Montecristo number 5s, Ramon Alonez Coronas. There's also, I'm not sure what this would count as, if it would count as a Corona or a petit. What would this be? Maybe Petit Bellicoso, if anything. But it's a Viveros Manitas. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. My Spanish is not the best.
it's all good.
But
Have you tried that one before?
Yeah, I actually really like this. So this cigar, a lot of people say it's a lower budget friendly Cuban cigar. But for the price, this is probably the best cheap cigar you could buy from the Cubans, because instead of a Quintero, which is also another cheap Cuban cigar, but this cigar is machine rolled. So the tobacco is just clippings or shavings of other cigars. And honestly, I'm not even sure what the tobacco comes from for a Quintero, because all Quinteros are short filler. Same with Jose El Piedras. Not sure if I'm saying those right, but yeah, so basically these two are the cheapest of the cheapest you could buy when it comes to larger Vitolas and Cuban brands, because all their cigars are short filler.
They're still pretty good.
I think they're still pretty good, but the only thing with short filler cigars for me is they burn really hot. So the cigar could canoe really fast, or it's a cheaper cigar, so the quality control isn't the best. Like not too long ago, I smoked one of these and I had to throw the whole cigar out because it wouldn't even get past getting lit. It wouldn't even light. But honestly, that's a gamble that you kind of have to play with when you buy Cubans in general. I've never had it happen with a more expensive Cuban, only with the short fillers, but I hear a lot of people have problems with practically every Cuban brand. But I don't know, I've had some problems with even New World brands as well.
Okay.
But yeah, these would probably be the cheapest from them. And then once you move on from these, you get to Viveros, which is the only quote-unquote cheap Cuban cigar that is long filler. So they actually use their own tobacco and have their own farms for these. Comparatively with this, I don't even know what the tobacco comes from this, because you've smoked like Cohiba shorts, Trinidad shorts, and all those are machine-rolled cigars as well. But the shavings and the clippings on the inside that's used as the filler is from Cohiba cigars, from Trinidad cigars, right?
Okay.
So with these, I have no idea what kind of clippings or shavings it could be. It honestly could be just from all factories or whatever's left over from every single brand put into one. But I think they're all right. I honestly prefer, which is kind of a hot take, I prefer the Quinteros more than the JLPs, which is a lot of people are going to hate me for, because everyone, when it comes to cheap cigars, they love the JLPs, but I just had bad experiences with them. And I've had a couple boxes of the Quinteros, and they were pretty good, so.
Yeah, I remember you gave me a few Quinteros before the smoke, and yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, it's not
Solid.
bad. Back in the day, you could probably get this cigar on sale for a couple bucks. Like I would honestly smoke this all day long for like $2, $3. You know, that wouldn't bother me. But now since everything's getting kind of expensive, depending on where you at, I've seen these for $10, $15, and I honestly don't think this is a cigar that's anywhere near close to being worth over $5 or $6. So after I completely run out of the Quinteros, I don't think I'm
It's
gonna.
done. It's over.
Yeah, I don't think I'll buy any more. Especially with, I mean, this is one humidor, or I don't even know if I count this as a humidor really. I guess I'd count it, but one box of my Cuban cigars, and to be honest, the rate that I'm smoking at now, it would take me, I think, maybe even a year just to smoke this box.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how many cigars is in here, but I would like to say more than 50 for sure.
Yeah.
Then
That's nice.
let's take a look at some of the other Petit Coronas since we're still here. This is probably one of my favorite Petit Coronas in general. The Montecristo number 5. To me, this is a great cigar. Great morning cigar with coffee. Easy. It's light, especially with some years on it. These are from 2016, so
Wow.
that's 9 years now, which is
Jeez.
crazy when you think
Yeah.
about it. But
Man.
but these are great. Yeah, I really like those. Another one is the Ramon Leones Coronas. I haven't really smoked too many of these. Smoked a couple, but these are relatively more new to me. I've only got these from a year ago at a LCDH in Amsterdam, I think. And I only bought a couple because for some reason, well, obviously I know why, because it's supply and demand. But when you go out the country, some LCDHs, they will cut off how much you could buy. So when you go in, they might only let you buy a couple cigars compared to a whole box. I would have bought a whole box of these, but it's kind of good at the same time because you get to really select a bunch of other stuff to get to try and then move on to the box, because I have a bad habit of buying boxes before I ever even try the cigar, and that's how I got myself in this predicament. So let me see what's another one. We talked about all these. Then under some of these Petit Coronas, I have these Partagas shorts, which these used to be my favorite smaller Cuban cigar, and to a lot of people this is their favorite smaller Cuban cigar, and to me this definitely top 3 still, but I think my top 3 when it comes to smaller Cuban cigars or Petit Coronas or Coronas would be this Partagas short, Montecristo number 5, and Bolivar Petit Corona. So these 3 right here are probably my favorite smaller short smokes when it comes to Cuban lines. And honestly, it's getting kind of hard to buy the smaller size ones because they're getting caught up in price to the larger cigars. I've seen Partagas shorts for $15, but I could pay another $5 and just buy this Juan Lopez number 2, which I feel like is a lot better deal. And since we already picked this cigar up, the Juan Lopez number 2, I personally like this one more compared to the number 1, which is, I don't know, I hear a lot of line where people like the number 1. I don't know, I just love the Robusto size in general. It doesn't really matter what it is. I could smoke any line, I'd probably choose the Robusto.
Wait, is the cigar blurry, like in front of when he's putting it out over there, to that camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's just focused on
All right.
face?
Yeah.
So
There's
Okay.
no autofocus.
All right,
you can put it closer to your face.
I'll just keep doing this. Hey guys, this is a. No, I just keep doing this then.
You don't want to put them to the side or something, or
Yeah,
I'm putting
them out?
organize them.
Yeah, I'm putting them up here as of right now, I guess.
Yeah, all the ones that you've already shown, you can
Yeah.
just set to
So
the
set
side.
some of these Petit Coronas to the side.
Man.
This is gonna be like a 2-hour video, huh?
No, there's a lot to cut out, you know, and a lot to go over. It's probably been 15, it's been 9 or 10 minutes and we only talked about Petit Coronas. But on this box, I mainly have cigars that I have that are getting ready to be smoked. So you'll see majority of these cigars, there's probably 3 or 4 of them in here. But most of the cigars here I have full boxes of.
Yeah, and like one thing to know, like when he opened the box and you get a whiff of the cigars, man, it smells like amazing. Like the
Yeah.
aroma, I've never smelled anything like that. You know, I can't even explain it. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's just a great smell. It doesn't even smell like tobacco. So when you first buy Cubans, most people say they're not worth it because you have to age them yourself. But when you put some time to these guys, I feel there isn't really other cigars that can compete. Majority of my collection is New World cigars,
yeah.
but man, when you smoke a good Cuban, it's hard for something to compare to that. With that even being said, the best cigar I've ever smoked was a Cuban. But also the most shit cigar I've ever smoked was a Cuban too. So take that how it is, you know? Let's move to something else. This is a Kue Dors number 50. Probably one of the hottest cigars right now. Probably one of the hottest brands.
Yeah, I got a box of those.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone loves the cigar and the 52 as well. Personally, this cigar, I think it's alright. But I think the bigger Vitolas are better.
And they have the special edition as well, the 54s, like
Yeah, they have a couple different other sizes. They have 50, 52, 54. And then there are, you know, regionals. There's other sizes that have been discontinued. I believe there was a Kue Dors Claro. I think they got rid of that. I can't really remember too much about that. But yeah, Kue Dors for a while was kind of viewed as like a budget brand. But now they realize people are starting to really like it, and they're trying to remodel the brand, making it super luxurious, which I feel like they should have done in the beginning because Quai d'Orsay is, I believe, a street in France.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most luxurious streets that you can go to in France.
Yeah, this one looks darker than the ones I got.
So the thing with cigars, especially Cuban cigars, there's multiple different factories that the cigar can be rolled from. So it could all be Quai d'Orsay 50, number 52s or 50s, whatever. And it could be rolled at 10 different factories.
Wow.
And the selection of tobacco is different. So certain factories are held at higher regards than others.
Oh.
So some factories will get better tobacco and maybe have better rollers, you know?
Damn.
So that's why when you get to really into Cuban cigars, people will even look at the factory codes to really pick out which one they want the most.
Have you gone that deep?
No, I'm not that deep yet.
Cool.
And like, can you refresh the viewers on what a factory code is? What do you mean when you say that?
So when I say factory code, when you look on the back of a Cuban box, there will be 3 letters and then the date. So the 3 letters in the beginning are the factory code where the cigar came from. And then after that, it'll be the month and then the year that the cigar was released. And really only Cuban cigars do that. A lot of New World cigars are starting to try to do that just so it gives, you know, the mystique of Cuban cigars as well, but it's not the same. But it really does help with the aging and understanding if this cigar is ready to smoke or not. Most New Worlds you can smoke right out the gate. With these, I always suggest people, man, if you can, try at least to not smoke it for 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Which is probably the hardest thing because when you really like smoking cigars and you have them, you just want to smoke them.
We know, man, we're going through that, you know, dilemma right now. Like, we have boxes just sitting, and they're all from like 2024, so we gotta wait like a whole year, you know. And
the crazy thing with cigars is, especially Cuban cigars, you would think, oh, maybe a year the taste caps out and it's just that taste. But every single year, or as time passes by, the cigars start to develop more flavors or different flavors. Man, I've smoked some crazy cigars that were decades old, and then I've also smoked some cigars where they're complete shit a couple years later. So, but the age is a big factor, and also how you keep them.
Okay.
That's why when we go to different cigar humidors or cigar lounges, I usually never buy shit because I always see how they keep the cigars, and I'm just not wasting my money on that anymore. You know, like no names, but the last cigar lounge we went to, they were fucking pissing water out of the humidor on top of the cigars. You know.
Yeah.
With these, I know exactly how they were for the last 2 years. In a corner of my basement. In a Tuverdor where the room stays 65, so that's pretty much the best. People say humidity low 60s, temperature low 60s is probably the best to keep your Cuban cigars. Cubans, even lower humidity, they say around 60, 62 because the draw can be pretty tight.
Yep.
So the lower humidity kind of relaxes the draw a little bit more.
Okay.
Let's move on to some other bigger Vitolas while we're just looking at all this stuff. It's kind of overwhelming, to be honest. When you're looking at all the brands, it's like, oh shoot.
When was the last time?
Which one?
Uncovered this box
I haven't even
again?
opened this box for probably like the last time you came to my house, some months,
Wow.
couple months.
Yeah.
And right now, even though it's been open for a while, the smell is just like radiating right now, you know. But let's move on to some Bellicosos. This is a San Cristobal de la Habana Bellicoso. Really excited to try the cigar. Haven't tried it yet, but heard great things about the cigar. I personally think the Bellicoso line of any cigar, when it comes to Cubans, is my favorite. So here's the San Cristobal Bellicoso.
Man.
Sancho Panza Bellicoso. A lot of people love this cigar. People say this is a huge sleeper that people don't ever pay attention to because the band's ugly. Everyone, you know,
Yeah.
they love the Cohibas, they love the Montecristos, they love everything else, but I suggest really trying this one out if you can.
Yeah, some brands don't even try, do
Yeah.
they? It's like,
And this, to me, the granddaddy of all Bellicosos, the Bolivar Bellicoso. This is my island cigar. If I'm stuck and I have nothing else to smoke and the box keeps coming back, this is the one right here. This is the one. And on this one, it says on the band old because I got this from a friend. And he wasn't too sure exactly when the date was, but he said from early 2000, from 2000 to 2006. So this is definitely primed out. It's ready.
Man.
But I only have a couple Bellicosos, so I'm saving it until I get a box. Because I know I'm going to like that cigar. There's no point in me smoking now and then. Maybe I should just smoke it. I'm a goddamn cigar hoarder.
Man, that San Cristobal, is that like, do you know the history behind that? Is that the same, the person that used to roll that, did they like flee Cuba and then they formed the San Cristobal, that New World brand?
So the New World San Cristobal brand is actually owned by my father, I believe. So
okay.
in a way, yes and no, because
okay.
Pepin Garcia did leave Cuba to find, where is he now? I think Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, yeah.
So in a sense, yeah. But the thing with Cuban brands and the American counterparts is a lot of times those brands have nothing to do with Cuba at all. They're just trademarked and bought by companies so they could sell you cigars, you know.
Okay.
That's why I usually stay away from certain cigars like that.
yeah.
Because to me it's just a gimmick. But the San Cristobal cigars from my father are actually pretty good. I do actually enjoy those.
Yeah, I like them too.
Yeah. But there's other cigars that have the same name. The Cohibas, the Montecristos, the La Glorias. I honestly don't buy any of those. I just think it's a waste of money. And because they market themselves like a high-end cigar as well. Some of their cigars $30, $100, $150, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
For what reason? I'm not paying that much for those New World cigars. I'd rather pay that on a Cuban. Which is, I don't know. Which is all personal. Since we're talking about La Glorias, here's another La Gloria. La Gloria Turcanos. I believe that's how you say it. Probably the hottest cigar of 2024, I believe. Man, everybody wanted this cigar. Everybody was looking for boxes of these, couldn't find them, but I started seeing them pop around now. I have a box of these just chilling. I think a 2023 box, so it's definitely going to be in the bottom of the Tubador for a couple more years. But people say batches from 2023 to 2024 of all current Cuban brands is pretty much ready to smoke, which is good to hear. Let me put this one over here. I guess this wouldn't even be considered a Bellicoso since it's a bit bigger. But if it is a Bellicoso, I think this is a torpedo. But it's if it is a whatever it is, Bellicoso torpedo, whichever one you call it, this is probably the most famous Cuban cigar of all time. Every mobster, every gangster in a movie, this was their favorite cigar. When you think of Cuban cigars, this is the Cuban cigar.
Yeah.
And I still haven't smoked it.
Shout out to
is
Tony
crazy.
Soprano. You know,
Tony
all those
Soprano.
episodes, he like just lit a cigar up and took 3 puffs and just threw it away.
Yeah. that guy.
Hey, R.I.P. to him. But but yeah, You guys are familiar with James Bond. It wasn't this current James Bond, but the last guy that played James Bond, part of his agreement in his movie was whenever he wanted, they would buy him a Montecristo #2 box.
Damn.
I would abuse the shit out of that.
Oh, yeah. He probably did.
Yeah. He's like, I have a whole friend. My friends are coming. I need 20 boxes. I mean, it's James Bond, you know.
Yeah.
But this cigar also comes in a petite version. I haven't had either, because to me, I'm kind of scared to smoke this cigar, you know? The hype around the cigar is so high and so big, I feel like if I smoke it, it's not going to live up to expectations. And I feel that about a lot of certain cigars. So it's one of those where I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. Maybe I'll smoke this one at the 2-year mark. In a couple more months, it'll be 2 years, but I don't know. We'll see. Then it's right next to some couple more bangers, but we'll save that for a little bit. Since we're talking about Montecristos, let's look at a couple other Montecristos. So this is the Montecristo #3 and #4. So when you look at the Montecristo line, the 1, 2, and the 3 are kind of more of a rounder shape, rolled in the regular way most cigars are rolled. But once you get to the 4 and the 5, they kind of almost a box pressed presentation, kind of square compared to the 1, 2, or 3. But out of all of them, personally, I don't know what my favorite is. Maybe the #4, just because of the size and how easy it is to smoke. You guys tried the #3s last time, and you guys said that was
good.
Yeah.
One of your favorite Cuban cigars ever.
Yep.
Or that you've had at least so far. Yeah, I think this good dinner cigar. #4, this is lunch. #5, this is breakfast. And then the special occasion, the big boy, the #2, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have any #1s because I generally don't like smoking very long, super long cigars, and the #1 is fucking huge.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty long. For me, I have a couple double Coronas, but I usually don't even buy them. I truly like to feel like I'm enjoying every puff, you know? After a while, when it gets past the double Corona or even bigger than a Churchill, I'm just like, hey. Now I feel like I'm smoking, or I'm working to smoke, you know?
Yeah.
It's, oh, bro, I want to go inside for a little or do something. I'd rather smoke 2 Robustos than a double Corona, usually.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a vacation that lasted too long.
Exactly. That's the best way to compare it to. But honestly, besides the Bolivar, Bellicoso, I don't think these would be considered Bellicosos just because of the size difference. Probably Torpedoes. I guess I could say this is probably my favorite torpedo-sized Cuban cigar. The Diplomaticos. Man, this cigar right here, right when I lit it, man, I knew I needed to get a box of it. I only have a couple now.
Damn.
But right when I lit it, I was like, man, I could smoke. Some cigars, they just taste so good. Maybe it's just the moment, you know, or the people, the company you have around, but some cigars are just etched into your brain. And this is one, the Diplomaticos #2 is definitely etched into my brain. I need another box of these. And which is sad because the prices of all #2s, all Cubans in general, especially these as well, are going up way too high. This, back in the day, used to be considered a close to a budget brand, you know? They don't really have many different Vitolos in this brand. This one, man, complete banger. People sleep on it. But now, I guess not, because Cohibas, Montecristo, Trinidad is so high in price. People are starting to move to the lower tier brands. And nothing nowadays is really lower tier when it comes to Cuban, you know? Maybe besides the Quintero and the JLP, but even if I didn't have a cigar and someone gave me one of those, I'd still be like, oh shit, you know? Here's another Quintero. This is the Brevis. The smaller one I showed earlier is the Panatella. So when you buy a box of Quinteros, all the wrappers could possibly look different. You know? So most of the cigar, like if you look at this one, this wrapper is dark, beautiful, looks like it's rich. Maybe even a little toothy.
Mm.
And then this box, this wrapper looks disgusting. Seen some days. Been through the sand, you know? But you can't really expect too much coming from budget brands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to start the time?
All right, we'll take.
We're back. And I'm looking at this box and it feels like I have not gone through shit. It's still not completely even leveled out yet. Man, what else are we going to look at? Okay, so another cigar people love. A family favorite, Robusto. Ramon Alones, specially selected.
SS.
The SS. Not that SS, different SS. This SS. Don't ban us. I was kidding. But man, this is another cigar I feel you could smoke pretty young, with a year, 2 years, and it would be great. I smoked a cigar when it only had 6 months of age on it, and I already liked it. So, great cigar. Ramon Alones, specially selected. Very renowned, very liked.
Wow.
Let's see, another Robusto that you don't get to see a lot. St. Louis Rey Regios, I think. Regios.
Regios, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we got an interpreter right here. He's going to take care of all my
Watch
all
me
my
be
fumbles.
wrong, too.
Hey, at least you sound right. That's all that matters.
Those Cubans sound crazy. Like
Their
Cuban
Spanish is different?
Yeah, they cut out a lot of like letters and stuff. You know, it's like
So when you speak Spanish, all right, little pivot from what we're talking about. When you speak Spanish, can you tell the difference with other countries?
yeah, you could tell.
Okay.
Definitely, for sure. Like
But-
Cubans, it's hard to differentiate like between Cubans and like Puerto Ricans. Like those islands right there,
Yeah.
that's like pretty tough for me.
But you can tell when someone's Mexican, Spanish.
Mexicans,
or
Spanish,
Spain.
yeah, Spain for sure. Yeah.
All right, back to cigars. St. Louis Rey Regios. You don't get to see the cigar too often. I personally don't see the cigar too often. Even when I go out the country and go to LCDHs, I rarely see this brand, to be honest. But I really like the band. The band looks like an old school crest that you would see on a fort or something.
Yeah. Can I see that?
Yeah. Little show and tell. You know?
Yeah, maybe they could get like.
Stone down doesn't even matter at this point. Went through a couple Robustos. These number 3s. Now it's getting a little more fun. Now we're going to some more bigger sizes. Series P, number 2. I've had this cigar. You've had this cigar too, didn't you?
I haven't smoked it yet. It's sitting in the
Oh,
top
okay.
of the door right now.
Well, when you smoke that, I'll smoke it with you. I thought last time I smoked a cigar, I thought it was alright. Good cigar. Not my favorite number 2. Would I buy a box? Yes, because I'm a hype beast, but... No, I'm just kidding. I'd buy another 5 of this just to let them age. But man, the prices of Cubans are getting so ridiculous, you can't just randomly buy boxes anymore. Let's look at let's look at the other variation of the Partagas number 2. So this is the Series P number 2. You compare it to this, which is the Series E number 2. Relatively same name, but 2 completely different cigars. A lot of people hold very high standard for the Series P, but I hear a lot of people here and there don't like the Series E too much. I think the Series E is good, but this format, the number 2 format and Cubans in general, I think they roll them the best. So that probably has a a big play with it, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, let us know in the comments if you guys have smoked these two different cigars. Which one do you guys like? The Series E or the Series P? Let us know.
Nice.
And this is probably another favorite from people. The Petit Edmundo. Very famous cigar in the Montecristo line. It's almost impossible to find boxes of because everybody wants them. The Petit Edmundos and the regular Edmundos. I've never had one, but I'm looking forward to smoking this. This one's still new, 2024. That's when I obtained this. Not too sure how old it is really, because I got it in a trade, but I'll probably smoke this in another year. But very famous cigar. Let's off tilter to a different brand that I personally really like. Hoyo de Monterrey. I practically like every single cigar from this brand. I don't know what it is, but every cigar I've smoked from this brand is a 7 or 7 and above for me, at least.
Wow.
Good brand. Which one did you smoke?
I only smoked the Epicure number 2.
Oh yeah, you did smoke the Epicure number 2. One of the most famous Cuban cigars in general.
Yeah. Yep.
And what did you give that as a rating?
I gave that like a 7.5.
7
Because I
and a half.
gave the Montecristo number 3 like an 8.5. Yeah.
8.5. What did you rate the Epicure number 2?
Probably like a 7.
7?
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blasphemy, but I'm just kidding. I don't have any more Epicure number 2s in this box, and I don't have any more Epicure number 1s because I have them in my other drawers, but the only other Epicure numbered series I have is the newest Epicure release, which is the Epicure number 3. Man, when this cigar first came out, basically like every other cigar I've said on here, it was impossible to find. It's a good size, but very expensive for the size, I think. I think the cigar retails around $30 to $35.
Damn.
And honestly, for this size, I don't think it's worth it, even though I have it.
Yeah.
You could pay the same amount for a Montecristo number 2, which is a lot bigger smoke.
Holy crap.
Or you could pay for a Diplomaticos number 2. Relatively same price. But a lot of people say this is a very good cigar because it's new batch and all the tobacco they know is new. So they said the crop from the 2023-2024 is really good. But I will wait a little bit longer to smoke that. I do have a lot of friends that have smoked it and they said it was really good off the bat already. So that is a plus. But you know, when it comes to cigars, even New World, a little bit of age doesn't hurt. Okay, since this one fell down, let's talk about the Cuban cigar that kind of changed everything for me. This was the Cuban cigar I had where I had that epiphany moment. I used to think Cubans were just hype, were just bullshit. Like, man, why would I? You only want it Cubans because in America they're illegal.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, that behind the doors type thing, the mystique of having or smoking a Cuban because no one else is smoking them. I've smoked a couple Cubans. I can't even remember which ones before this one. And I was like, man, this shit's all bullshit. It's all hype. Why am I buying these? And then I bought these. Changed my whole game. I didn't get... The taste was hard to describe because I haven't smoked them in about a year or 2 years, but same with this Diplomatico number 2. Right off the light, I was like, holy shit. I see why people like these. I see why the Cohiba brand is so renowned. And this is the cheaper one. This is the Cohiba Esquitos, I believe you call it. It's a small Vitola. But man, even though this is a small cigar, it packs a bunch of flavor. Okay. One of my favorite cigars for sure. But I will not be buying any more. This cigar used to be, when I got into cigars, $15, $17 at most.
Sheesh.
Now I see the cigar for $40-$50, and you see how small this cigar is. It's not worth it. The flavor is amazing. I'm just saying that because I'm poor. But if the money was no issue, I'd be buying these all day long. But they're just yeah. But they're good though. They're good. And this box that I got was from 2019, so that definitely helps. Another banger that people hold in very high regard, Trinidad Vihia. I believe that's how you say it. I haven't had the most experience with Trinidad cigars because I got into Trinidad a little too late. So Trinidad really wasn't the highest priced brand when they first came out, but for some reason now Cuba decided to make this another luxury brand, so all the Trinidad cigars are crazy expensive. If you go to an LCDH, those Reyes's that you guys have are $40, and that cigar is tiny, you know?
Yeah, it is.
So, is it worth it? I don't know. I've got to check them out still to see if it's worth it, but at the same time, I kind of hope it's not worth it because I don't want to, you know? I don't want to be like, holy shit, I love this cigar. Now I'm paying $60 to $100 out the ass for every cigar I smoke. But very highly regarded. A lot of people's favorites. Is it mine? I don't know. We'll see. This one's still new. I think it only has a year or two on it. I might be sitting in this box for another 2 years, so we'll figure that out. Another good cigar that I got when I was in Amsterdam. The San Cristobal La Fuerza. A good long smoke, a little bit bigger than a Robusto. I'm not too sure what size you would call this. Maybe a Robusto Extra. Doesn't look like a Toro yet. But this is a great cigar, even when it was new. I bought this cigar, I instantly smoked it when I was in Amsterdam, and I thought it was really good, so I have a couple in here. Probably one of my more favorite low-key brands. I don't know if you can even say it's a low-key brand anymore. All Cuban cigar brands are.
Yeah.
You know. But you know, out of the main 4 or 5. Great cigar. Then these are some Montecristo Open Series Masters. So the whole point of the Open Series was to make cigars more appealing to an athletic crowd. And apparently the draw is a little bit more loose for guys that golf and stuff like that, so it's easier to smoke on the course. That was their whole general selling point. A lot of people say that the Open Series is really just the shitty tobacco of Montecristo. Do I believe that? I'm not too sure because I have smoked a couple Open Series and I did really like it. But there definitely is a difference. Would I call them the shitty Montecristos? No. But this line, definitely not this though. That's all I can say. Still good, but it's all right. All right, since I just picked up this is a big boy right here. Super hard to find, LCDH exclusive, Romeo and Juliet Cupitos. Or, you know, the Cupids, as most people call them. I haven't had the chance to smoke this yet. But, man, very expensive cigar. With pretty good reviews, I guess. It hasn't came out too long ago. I believe the cigar is $60 for one. I can't remember, to be honest. But with this is regarded more of like the higher line Romeo and Juliet, and you kind of really see that within the wrapper itself. And the construction and the roll of the cigar is just kind of beautiful. If you want to take a look at it. Another Romeo and Juliet that a lot of people hold in high regard would be the Romeo and Juliet Dianas. A lot of people like this cigar, but a lot of people also say that this entire line is just a gimmick. Just to see how high people will pay for certain cigars. And I don't know. I haven't smoked one yet, so we'll find that out. But this is the highest offering that Romeo and Juliet has right now. The Linea de Oro line. This line comes in, I believe, 3 different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I don't know, when you look at this cigar and you compare it to the Cupidos, I feel like this cigar is rolled and it looks way nicer than this one, even though the price tag on this one is a lot crazier. Both very high, expensive Romeo and Juliet cigars, but
Yeah, that one looks way tighter, like
yeah.
smoother.
But that also could play in the fact like the factories and stuff like that. I don't have boxes of either of these because we balling, but we balling on a budget, so it's a little different. Hopefully they live up to the hype.
That's a nice.
Yeah, that band is.
The band,
It's like-
the Linea de Oro band is beautiful.
It's like
The gold, the red.
holographic.
Yeah.
Can you get closer to see
Yeah.
that? Like, you can see the holographic on that band. It's crazy. Oof. Man.
Another, man, everything I keep pulling out, I said it's a banger, but honestly, all the ones I say are bangers are ones that I wish I could have unlimited boxes of. This right here specifically is another banger. Por La Ranga. Monte Carlos. That's why I got the names mixed up for a little bit. But man, this cigar, great cigar. It looks like it wouldn't last that long because it's very skinny, but you could possibly get almost an hour with this cigar if you smoke it very slow, very slowly.
Man, it looks like the perfect size.
Yeah,
You know? It's like,
a lot of people don't like the smaller ring gauges when it comes to cigars, but man, I'm a fan of the smaller ring gauges. I feel like you get a way better taste of the wrapper, and it's just the mouthfeel, like when you have a giant cigar, it's like, oh, you look cool, I guess, but
yeah.
sometimes it's just too much. And this one specifically is my birthday month, so I only smoked this one, or the ones from this box on my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But great cigar. If you guys have a chance to get these are still relatively pretty cheap compared to all of the other Cuban lines or Cuban brands. You could get these traveling around for, I don't want to say a legit number, but pretty cheap for what it is. I would definitely be grabbing another box or 2 of these if I leave the country and I see them. Pick up a couple if you can. Let's move to some more expensive cigars. Wrapper's a little messed up, but the holy grail brand of all cigars, pretty much the Cohiba. Get a nice view on that band right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, legit check me if you want. Man, the most iconic Cuban brand, to be honest. And it's one of the newest. So a lot of brands, Cuban cigar brands, started in even the late 1800s. H. Upmann being one of the oldest. And Cohiba wasn't created, I think, until Castro was in office, or a little bit prior to when he was in office. So the whole point of this brand was, we need to create a product and we need to push it to the masses and make it luxurious as we can. And honestly, they succeeded. Because if you have this cigar, people see this band, they're going to, okay, this guy's got some money. But to me, if I see you smoking this and I don't know you, I'm going to think it's fake. Majority of Cohibas that you see in the world are fake. This and the Montecristo line are probably the most fake cigars in the world. There's probably millions of fake Cohiba and Montecristos out there. Comparably, if you look at other certain brands, like these St. Louis Rays, some people may not have ever even heard of this brand. So why would you fake this brand out of all brands? You know, you won't see fake of these too often. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were fakes of them. There's fake everything nowadays. But Cohiba, Montecristo specifically, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what to look for, don't buy it. If you're not buying from an LCDH, even if you're if you're online and you're trying to get Cubans from other websites and you don't know anything, or if you don't know if these websites are legit or not, just don't do it. Wait until you're able to go into LCDH and really look and pick them out. Or do your homework prior to that. Because if you're spending this amount of money, you should know at least a little bit about the things you're buying, you know? So I would tell people, if you're trying a Cuban cigar for the first time, maybe try something that isn't so hyped, you know? Try something that... Man, and honestly, if you've never smoked a cigar and the first thing you pick up is a $90 or $100 cigar to smoke, you're a monster. Right? It's like the first time you ever ate steak and you ate Wagyu steak. Now everything else is just like whatever.
You're ruined.
You're ruined,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
But Cohiba have a big love-hate relationship with this brand. Love the taste. Love the marketing they have behind it. Hate the price. Hopefully one day they're going to start having Cuban cigar sales again. I used to see Cuban cigar sales every now and then. I would go into LCDH. It would be like, buy 2 boxes of this. Maybe you get this one 50% off or something like that. Okay. After COVID, all that shit's gone. I have never seen a Cuban sale in the last 4 years. At a LCDH or at a store. Online, stuff like that. Online gray market is weird too, because they'll say it's a sale, but they bumped the price up 3x already. Yeah. So it's still more than than retail in general. But when you ask people what is retail on Cuban cigars, what is the real answer? Because every country's tobacco laws and how they tax certain items is different. Well, your family was recently in Guatemala, right? In Guatemala, they were charging, at an LCDH, this is not some random store, it was an LCDH, right?
Yep.
At an LCDH, they were charging $190 for a Cohiba Robusto.
I was going to buy it too.
Let me say that one more time. $190 for one single cigar. Oof. Is it worth it?
Man.
Not for me.
Oh, and talking about Cohiba and how pricey they are, like, he hasn't even brought up the other brand from Cohiba, like the sub line from Cohiba. Yeah, there's sublines. I don't even have any sublines of the Cohiba because to me they're too expensive. So when you look at cigars, majority of them will be, at least in this collection, even the Dianas in a way is a regular production cigar. It's harder to get lower quantities, but they make them every year, you know. And above the general releases, there's going to be LCDH exclusives. And then above LCDH exclusives, there's going to be regionals, I believe. Or at least this is my ranking. Then regionals. Because usually regionals, they will release at least 80,000 boxes most of the time. 50 to 80,000. And then above regionals to me is the Limitadas. The Limitadas line, I don't have any currently in this box, but it'll have a second band and it'll tell you the year that cigar was preserved and rolled. So those are very rare because it's only that year of the crop, you know? Comparatively to this Dianas, which could be any year crop. They just keep rolling them. And then above all, the granddaddy of all are the Grand Reservas. The best tobacco from every line, and they come pre-aged. The price for those cigars are usually hundreds of dollars for a single cigar. I've never had one. Will I one day? Yeah, most likely, but I don't see that day coming anytime soon. Still a little too rich for my blood. I have a lot to move through with just the regular production, and then I'll move to more regionals, limitadas, and Grand Reservas. But right now, my pockets are already hurting from this selection alone. So.
Yeah. That sucks because, like, I think this Cohiba's fake, man.
But yeah, there's so many different variations or higher things of cigars. It's hard to say, you know. Is it worth it? I don't know. Never had one. Yeah. But I personally don't. I don't think any single item for something that's $500-$600 and you use it and it's gone in an hour or 2 hours, I don't think it's worth it, you know. Even a dinner, I don't think a $500 or $600 dinner right now is worth it for me at least.
Yeah, and then beyond the Cohibas, the premium line is the Behikes.
That's another
Those
premium
are
line is Behikes, yeah.
Even crazy.
But Behikes, in a way, is, I think, in between the regular production and the regionals, because regionals they create their own size, right, for that country, and it's only released during that time when they drop the boxes. Behikes, they constantly make Behikes, I think, every single year, but the production is so limited, people can usually never get them.
Yeah.
So there's other cigars that are even more rare than Behikes. It's just that you hear that name so much, everyone's, oh shit, Behike. But I'm not talking shit, by the way, but I've never had a Behike, but the limited series and the Grand Reservas, I believe, are higher than the Behikes.
Okay.
Regionals, when it comes to how limited are higher than Behikes as well, but Behikes are very expensive. So a regional, this is a completely different brand. This is a Bolivar regional. This regional probably costed $40-$50. I think that's what I paid for it, which is secondhand market. I don't know what retail was. A Behike retail is $200-$250. So when you talk about a price, does the price make it more limited because people are less likely to buy it? You know. So Behikes, when you look at those, you're paying $250, almost $300 per cigar. Yeah, they come out every year, but how many people are buying those? You know. I'm not sure if it's every year or every other year, but they do constantly make Behikes, you know? Comes in Behike 56. I think there's a 54 and a 52. I think there's only 3 sizes.
I think there's a rumor right now I read on Half Wheel where they say either this year or next year they're planning to drop the 58. Big ass Behike.
Yeah, so things like that are super new when it comes to Cubans. Actually, I'll tell you guys before or after this clip.
All right. So getting back to it, you were saying Behikes.
So what I was talking about in general with Cuban cigars, the larger ring gauges in Cuban cigars is a very new thing, and it's just Cuba adapting to what's kind of cool in other countries. In America, the highest selling cigar size is a Toro and a Robusto, but universally in the world, I think the most sold cigar is a Corona. So the bigger cigar sizes is more catered to the Western world, you know?
Okay.
Especially in America, bigger is better. Everyone wants to smoke a Toro every day. I'm okay with those. I don't want to smoke a big cigar every single day. I like to take my breaks, but yeah, the whole bigger ring gauge size and stuff like that is more of a new tactic to sell to more customers and stuff. Okay. But when it comes to smaller ring gauges, I feel like Cuba has perfected that. The petit Coronas, the Longsdales, all that. I believe Cuba probably does them the best. Even though, you might buy a box and there's a couple duds, but when they're on, they're on. So let's look at we can see the bottom of the box finally. But this cigar in my hand is another series from Partagas, the Series D, number 6. This is not plumed, a little bit of cotton on it.
Plume is good though, so
yeah.
Man, relatively pretty expensive cigar for how small this is. I can't remember how much, but too much for how big the cigar is. Are they good? I think they're alright. I think this line is very spicy. Every time I smoke the cigar, I always get spice out of it. It's a good, but for Cuban cigars, Cubans are usually lighter cigars compared to a New World. But this one right here, the first time I smoked it, I was like, oh, this one is punching. It was pretty. The nicotine was pretty strong on this one. Good cigar. Try it if you can. It's box worthy. I wouldn't say that, but they're good. But the benefit of these, since they are not, to me, box worthy, they offer 5-pack cardboard sleeves of these, so I would buy that. Check them out, see if you like them or not. Let's see what else is in this drawer. Let's talk about a different brand, Cohiba. So this brand is the only brand that has regular production Figurado shaped cigars for Cuba. So every single cigar that this brand makes for regular production is a Figurado shaped cigar, but just in bigger or smaller formats. I think this one is the Divinos, can't really remember off the top of my head. But I've never smoked a Cohiba, but most people say tasting notes out of Cohiba is very nutty, peanut-esque, somewhat cream. And then I also hear from a lot of other people that this brand is shit, so we're going to find out. But I do love these Figurado-shaped cigars for some reason. I always like the shape. That's partially why certain Fuente cigars I hold them in such high regard. But we'll see how this tastes. Let's look. Okay, there's another Kue Dors, the 52. Which is crazy because this is the 52. You'd think, oh shit, the 52 can't be much bigger than the 50, but this cigar is almost 2 times the size of the 50.
Damn. Oh my god. I was gonna get a box of that too, but...
Is it box worthy? I don't know. I have never smoked the 52. Wow. I will eventually smoke it, but it's a big smoke. You better clear some time to smoke this one. And I believe the largest size of 54 isn't longer. It's just like a fatter, yeah. I think it might be smaller. But yeah, these are probably the 2 most famous Kue Dors sizes, the 50 and the 52.
Can't see that.
What else is in here? Another famous cigar. But this time we're going into the Siglo series. This is a Siglo 1 Cohiba. This was my first Cohiba I ever smoked. And this one to me didn't meet the hype. The Siglo 1 series. A lot of people like the Siglo series. I've smoked the Siglo 1, 2, 3. I haven't had the chance to smoke the other ones, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Siglo line. It's a good cigar, don't get me wrong, but when you start paying those prices for what this is, I think there's a lot better cigars. And these definitely need age. So when I first smoked one, it had a year or 2 maybe, and it was not ready even then. They say Cohiba is probably one of the cigars you have to age the longest, which kind of sucks because it's already so damn expensive. Did we show this at Pure Special? I think we did.
Yeah, we showed that.
Let's look at some others. Here's another Hoyo de Monterrey. Petit Robusto. A lot of people like this cigar. I thought it was alright. It's a pretty good cigar. But I love this size, man. I think this is a great size. For any time of the day, you know? You have some time for a good smoke, but you don't want to be too long. It's a good size. Pretty good cigar. I'd rate it probably a 6 out of 10. Now this is a Montecristo Media Corona. A lot of people get these mixed up with the Petit Edmundos for some reason, but this one is a lot slimmer than the Petit Edmundos. Petit Edmundos, think of, that's their version of a Petit Robusto, and this is more, I wouldn't even know what I would call this. Maybe a half Corona size.
It
you know?
looks like a half Corona.
Because this is the same identical size as the H. Upmann half Corona as well. But when it comes to those smaller cigars, I'm not even sure what other brands make one this size. But I don't know. Depending on the day, I do like these meaty Coronas more than the H. Upmanns, which is blasphemy because everyone likes those H. I like those too, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the box I have. I really do like this cigar. It's a good cigar. Easy smoke. Another pretty big cigar. The Por Laranga Galanes. Man, I love that band for some reason. The gold Cuban brands, it's hard to miss with, you know. I've smoked a cigar before. I think it's a pretty good cigar. Box worthy. I don't know. It's hard to say nowadays what's really box worthy or not because you get to a certain point where you're gonna smoke a lot of good cigars, and if you get to and you should buy a box of all of those, you're never gonna,
Yeah.
you know. I think smoking cigars is a journey where it's like food. If you want to experiment, try new food, stuff like that, that's cool. I don't want to be eating the same thing for the rest of my life, you know. So nowadays, I try to get more of 5 packs, and then from there, I determine if I really want that cigar. But this one, for sure, a must try. I'd say a good 7.5. A good box, maybe an 8. You know, I think this is a really good cigar. Good size as well.
Yeah, the band is sick.
Yeah, I love the Portland Orango brand. All right, we got a couple more cigars before we wrap up the video, but let's talk about one of the cigars that we've all enjoyed here.
Oh,
The Joyitas. Mr. Joyita himself. Mr. Juanitos. Good cigar, small cigar. Smokes really fast, but if you like Cohiba shorts, you like Montecristo shorts, and you want to spend some more money and you want to try something a little different, but you like the size, this is the cigar for you. Probably the smallest long filler cigar that I think the Cuban brand makes. I don't know how you get smaller than this, to be honest, when it comes to long filler. But the price is there. A box of these and a box of Montecristo shorts is way different. And you guys smoked the shorts, right?
Yeah.
How does the flavor?
The shorts? No.
Which ones did you smoke? The Trinidad,
Cohiba,
and Partagas. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally different flavor profile. Totally different burn time. Shorts burn fast because of short filler. These are long filler. Good smoke though. Really like them. Let's see what else is in here I haven't talked about. Well, let's talk about this regionals a little more before we end this video. So you probably heard throughout the video me talking about regionals and how every country they get to choose what brand and this and that. So let's go a little more in depth. So every year, a couple different countries get chosen to have an exclusive. So this one just happened to be Andorra. So the country gets to choose what brand and what size they would like for Cuba to make for them. And obviously, I believe they probably turn them down every now and then because if I'm a country, I'm like, yo, make me a fucking Cohiba exclusive every time, you know? But they probably give them like a list of brands that they can choose from. But okay, this year, this is what we're trying to figure out. Do you want this? Do you want that? But yeah, so it's pretty much cigars that are only to that country.
wow.
So you could buy regionals usually in other countries as well. Some LCDHs will carry regionals of other countries but surrounding countries. I was in Thailand not too long ago and I bought some Malaysia exclusivos in Thailand. So you'll find certain different ones in other countries and stuff like that, but obviously it's not the same if you actually go to that country, then you'll find all of them. So are they worth it? I don't know. I've never had a regionals. I kind of collect them just for the fact that it's a different size that you won't get to see and it's something that if you walk into an LCDH, even then you won't see it because it's not from that country or any of the surrounding countries. So it's something cool to collect. That's kind of how I look at the regionals line. It's more of a collecting thing, if anything. But with cigars, doesn't matter how long I collect it, they're all getting smoked eventually. We collect to smoke, not just to pass on to the next generation. My son's getting a box of curly head Fuentes. The last cigar out of the whole Humidor tour, box tour, whatever you want to call it, the Partagas Maduro. So a lot of people, when it comes to Cuban cigars, they think, oh, there's no dark wrappers. There's no dark cigars. There's nothing that in their flavor profile that's even strong.
Yeah.
So not too long ago, I'm not sure what year, but it's the last 10 years or something like that. They started releasing Maduro lines of certain cigars, but they are, I believe, harder to find. I never see Maduro lines for some reason when I go to LCDHs, but they're out there. So if you want to try a Cuban, but you like that New World, you like that spice, you like the strong flavoring, and every other Cuban you've tried is too smooth, too sweet, or the flavor is downplayed, try a Maduro instead. I think most people that transfer from New World to Cuban, this would probably be the good alternative for you. Because man, you've had it before. You smoke something from Padron or something from Foundation, and then you smoke a Cuban cigar, and you're like, I can't even taste it sometimes. You know, it's just that the flavor profile is so different in New World, and it's so strong. Because most of the tobacco coming from New World countries is the soil super rich. You know, it's a lot of nutrients in the soil, and when it comes to Cuban tobacco, they say that Cuba's been using the same farmlands for generations, and they haven't been able to put different crop in there to re-nourish the soil. So that's another big reason.
How much is this cigar? Do you know?
I believe the cigar is probably around now $40, $50. I can't remember. I don't stay up to date too much when it comes to Cuban cigars. So I used to buy Cuban cigars online a lot, but now it's just when it comes to buying Cuban cigars, I feel like the government's cracking down so hard, and I don't want to risk losing TSA, or Global Pass, and all this other stuff just for some cigars, you know. But I would buy, Cubans when I go to other countries, and if pricing is important to you, if you want to go to a country to try to acquire some Cuban cigars, there are a couple countries that I do recommend. Obviously, you're going to hear this one from everybody. Spain probably has one of the biggest selections of Cuban cigars, and for a relatively, quote unquote, good price. Nothing's a good price nowadays, but that's life, you know. But if you want just pure selection and you don't care about price too much, I don't think there's anywhere in the world that beats London. London will have selections from cigars from the 80s, 90s, before then, different vintage. Like, it'll have every cigar in every year, pretty much.
Wow.
You'll be paying a tax. Don't get me wrong. You'll be paying, but if the price doesn't matter and you are really looking out for certain things to acquire, London is probably your best bet. But for price, I'd say Spain and all the other countries. I don't want to see you guys there, so I'm not going to tell you. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That is one of my Cuban humidors. But I feel like this is the best humidor probably to look at, or for at least us to start a humidor collection on our channel, because there's a little bit of everything in here.
Yeah.
And I feel getting into the Cuban cigar world, prices of cigars are so high. Try a bunch of stuff out before you buy boxes. Don't be a dumbass like me. Just buy boxes of cigars. But luckily with Cubans, I like the flavor profile, so I lucked out. But some people don't like it, Go through a couple brands. So out of this video, for someone would to try, I would suggest highly trying the Bolivar Petit Corona and the Partagas shorts when it comes to smaller cigars, and the Montecristo No. 5, which is in here somewhere now. And then when it comes to Robusto size cigars, as we're moving up, not necessarily a complete Robusto yet, but it's getting there. The Kue Dors 50, another must try. Let's see. Juan Lopez, got a shout out to Mr. Juan. This is a must try as well. Good Robusto for a good price. 20 or so bucks nowadays, but man, I feel like you can't beat that for Cuban cigars now. I'll pay $20 for a Cuban Robusto all day. Even when you go to New World lounges and stuff nowadays, the cigars are 20 plus for a lot of cigars, you know, so it doesn't really make that big of a difference. So when you hear people complain about Cuban cigar prices, most of the time the people that are complaining about it are people from other countries, not America. Because in America, our cigars are so cheap. You can buy from certain discounters or websites for super cheap. But in other countries, the prices of New World cigars are pretty expensive already, more comparably to America. So the raising price of a Cuban isn't too bad. But in general, people hate inflation. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be milk, could be ice, could be cigars. And let me give you guys one more must try before we go. Let's see. What else in here is a must try? Definitely these guys right here. These are 4. Let me do 2 at a time. These 2, Belloso Bolivar, Diplomatica number 2. Another 2 must-try cigars. 2 of my favorite cigars that I've smoked in the last couple of years. I think about these cigars all the time on how I wish I had boxes of these. If I could redo my collection and I could only have 5 cigars, these 2 would be one of the 2 that I would have 5 of, or of the boxes, you know. Another must-try. Sancho Panza and the San Cristobal Bellocosos. 2 must-tries as well. And, you know, you could hear it from about everybody else. The Montecristo number 2s. Pretty much all the Montecristo number lines, I think, are worthy of trying. But, you know, try all the different cigars you can. Find your flavor palette. Figure out what you like and go from there.
What's the next Cuban you're going to smoke out of here?
Out of here? Sometimes I just look at this box and for 30 minutes at a time thinking about what the fuck do I eat, you know?
Yeah.
Which is hard. That's why I keep those other ones over there. And I just, whatever's in there, I have to smoke it.
Oh, okay.
But if I would to pick another cigar out of here, it's kind of chilly outside, it's cold, but I want something a little long but not too long. I'm probably either going Polaran Galanas or...
Good night.
We're smoking that later. But, or the Petit Robusto Hoyo de Monterrey. That cigar is definitely cracked, by the way. It hit the ground pretty hard.
Nah, it's good. It's good.
Right, it looks good.
All right. We're definitely ending the video. But thanks, guys.
Yeah.
On another episode of...
well, we don't know what we're going to name our Humidor tour videos yet, but yeah, starting off 2025, thanks to Jay, you know, showing y'all this amazing Cuban collection. Just a glimpse of it, by the way. So y'all stick around long enough, y'all going to see some crazier things on this channel.
There's a lot more to come if you guys want to see my stash, so...
Yeah, and thank you for liking and commenting on the videos. Till next time.
Yep.
Yep.
Peace,
All right.
y'all.
All right.
Give me the cigar!